Hello everyone, I'm Brian Monahan, Superintendent of Minisink Valley. I want to take a moment to say thank you for meeting with us in this fashion. We are glad to have the opportunity to take the questions you provided us and use them as a framework to provide some additional information and answers to you regarding our reopening plans. Please be sure to read our reopening plan on our website, www.minisink.com, as it provides a tremendous amount of information. We are looking forward to welcoming our students back to Minisink Valley. We recognize that nothing could have prepared us for this current situation and the abrupt way we ended our in-person instruction in March. We have been working what almost seems to be a non-stop pace since remote instruction ended in June to plan for September's reopening. I know the start of the school year is completely different than any of us have ever expected. We also understand our students, families, and staff are still adjusting to the continued realities of an ongoing pandemic environment as the reopening of schools gets closer. It's important again to stress that every decision we make as part of our fluid planning always puts student and staff health and safety as our first priority and obligation. I want to give special emphasis to this. Just about all of us working at Minisink Valley have school-age children. Many of us live in this community. Many of you know I live in this community. I have 3 sons who attend Minisink Valley schools. As superintendent, I am responsible for this district's overall operations, and I am so proud and honored to work alongside the very talented and creative people who have been working extremely long days and nights for the last 2 months to develop, shape, and reshape our reopening plans. Our reopening plan work is based on limited and changing guidance, and we are committed to the very best we are capable of doing, given the restrictions we must open our buildings under. But we are also doing our work using the lens of being concerned and caring parents. Everything we do is based on maintaining good health and safety of our students. As a father, I am confident in the plans our team continues to refine and finalize. I am equally confident that all of our plans represent our very best efforts to put health and safety first, with a parallel emphasis on student success and achievement. However, I know these plans create unexpected issues that are upsetting to some. We understand that. That's not our intention. But we need you all to realize that for much of this, we have absolutely no choice but to organize our school year the way we have. We must adhere to the rules and regulations placed on us. We need you to understand this, and we will look to be as supportive and as we can to help you as you navigate the issues that may not have needed to be addressed in the past. We are confident this staged transition back into school will work best for our Minisink school community, given the constraints we have. We know not everyone will be happy, but we also believe everyone understands the rationale for our plans. Our sincerest hope is that at some point in the school year, we can all return back to our traditional in-school model where everyone is in our buildings 5 days a week. Right now, that is not possible. We need everyone to remain adaptable and flexible. It's quite probable that our plans will be adjusted on a regular basis. Please bear with us as this situation continues to evolve on a daily basis. All of us at Minisink Valley appreciate your patience and support of our work. Some important reminders that our medical director, Dr. Sarah Little, wants to remind you all. Number 1, make sure your children know the right way to wash their hands. 2, make sure your children know how to properly use hand sanitizer. 3, get your children used to wearing masks now. Masks are required for school. Your child's building will review the mask break policy with you as opening nears. Make sure your children know they must follow all the social distancing requirements. 5, parents must complete a required daily health check. You'll be doing this online through an app and more details will follow. This needs to be done prior to the students arriving at our buildings. And finally, and most importantly, if your child is not feeling well, do not send them to school under any circumstances. The old adage of give them Tylenol and send them on the way does not work. As tough as this may sound, these requirements will safeguard everyone's health. As parents, we are requiring you to ensure these measures are always followed. We have some extremely useful tools to help you with this on our website. Please visit our Social Emotional Learning Resource Hub. You'll find access to the page on our homepage and on every school's homepage. If you look in the lower right-hand portion of the website page, that's where you'll find it. Now let's review the topics of many questions you've asked us to elaborate on. What does the start of the school year look like, and what does a typical day look like as well? The first 4 days of school, September 1st through September 4th, are now conference days. Those conference days are not days of attendance for our students. Again, the first week, September 1st through September 4th, are not days of attendance. They are conference days for our teachers, where we'll be doing a significant amount of professional development and allowing our teachers to start to prepare their lessons for the initial remote learning. September 8th through 18th, that's phase 1 of remote learning for all K-12 students. Teachers will engage students via synchronous and asynchronous remote instruction. Please note, this is because final preparation of buildings to accommodate student and staff attendance will be taking place in tandem with the State Department of Health and the State Education Department. Special education students during phase 1, students will follow their buildings plan for remote instruction. Phase 2, the week of September 21st, phase 2 is grades K through 5. These students return to school using a alternating day model. The district will be preparing a calendar for students to know what days they're supposed to attend. This week will be half days of in-person instruction combined with half days of remote instruction. Phase 2, grades 6 through 12, these students will continue to be fully remote with synchronous instruction. Special education students during phase 2, students in grades K through 5 who receive all of their special education services in a 15-1 special class setting will attend school in person every day for half a day. Students in grades K through 5 who receive consultant teacher support will follow their building schedule for alternate days as well, and they will be half days. Students in grades 6 through 12 will continue to be fully remote with synchronous instruction. Phase 3, the week of September 28th. Students will continue on an alternating schedule basis, and again, as we said before, we are going to prepare a calendar for students to know when they're supposed to be in session. These days will be full day live instruction. Phase 3, grades 6 through 12, students will continue to be fully remote with synchronous instruction. Our special education students during phase 3, those students in grades K through 5 who receive their special education support in a 15-1 special class will attend school in person every day for a full day. Students in grades K-5 who receive consultant teacher support will follow their building schedules for the alternating days, for full days. Students in grades 6 through 12 will continue to be fully remote with synchronous instruction. Finally, phase 4, the week of October 5th. K-12 hybrid model based on an alternating day of attendance for all of our K-12 students. Special education students during phase 4, students in grades K through 5 who receive their special education support in a 15-1 special class setting will attend school in person every day for a full day. Students in grades K-5 who receive a consultant teacher support will follow their building schedule for the alternating days. Students in grades 6 through 12 will follow an alternating schedule as well. Students in grades 9 through 12 who attend the Career Achievement Program will attend school on a daily basis. Related services will be provided both synchronously and asynchronously during all 4 phases. Menacing Valley will also incorporate a planned flex day on Wednesdays. That flex day will start on September 16th and we will reevaluate again on October 21st. The flex day will require students to connect with their teachers in the morning and have the opportunity to catch up on their work, also work with the teachers on needed information to help them with their lessons. The afternoons will be dedicated towards professional development for our teachers, and when our students are back in the building, The Wednesdays will be used for a deep cleaning of the building during the middle of the week. Thank you. So in this section, we're going to cover questions that came into us regarding teaching and learning. So our first question is, what will grading look like in the fall? Will it be traditional or pass-fail? Well, to start with, we're telling you it's going to be traditional. However, please understand, current circumstances that we're going to be operating in this year will require flexibility to ensure equity. Next, will remote instruction only be computer-based? The example someone had asked us, will kindergartners have access to other instructional materials other than Chromebooks, books, worksheets, etc.? Instruction will be a combination of resources available for teachers, particularly once students are in live sessions. Specifically, primary and intermediate grade students can and expect to utilize many other forms of resources, including worksheets, math ELA resource books, and foundational reading materials. Those types of instruction will also apply at the secondary level for our middle school and high school students. Next, will students have specials and electives or AI services, speaks, etc.? Yes, K-5 can expect to receive instruction for those courses in person, remotely, both synchronously and asynchronously, depending upon the building schedules. 6th through 8th students will have their electives built into their normal school schedules. Delivery will be dependent upon whether they are live or remote. And fourth question. What has it been for our preparation and professional development for our teachers to achieve best practices to maximize the value of instruction? Well, just so everyone is aware, we have been providing professional development and giving access to our teachers for professional development since the spring to prepare our teachers for remote instruction. This process will continue as teachers return to school and will continue into the fall for the foreseeable future. Our flexible Wednesdays that we are going to be having, which starts on September 16th, will allow for students to interact with their teachers in the morning and then for our teachers to have access to professional development in the afternoon. Next question is, what will instruction look like when remote and in person? Well, I want to explain synchronous versus asynchronous and why both of them have value. Synchronous learning is students interact with the teacher on a live time basis. Synchronous is relying upon ensuring every student has access to a device. Otherwise, it's impossible for a family with multiple children to be logged in simultaneously. That's why we've explained to our families who took a Chromebook last year and may need another one for another child, make sure you utilize our survey to request another Chromebook for the other children in your class, in your home. Next, asynchronous learning. That is where the teacher and the student interaction are not occurring at the same time. The teacher may post some information, students log on when capable to view and respond to that request from the teacher. This does allow for flexibility in scheduling. It can accommodate students and families with scheduling concerns. And it does work well for students for independent practice after receiving direct instruction. What might instruction look like during a day for students, both remote and in person? Well, the teachers will be asked to provide instruction for students both in person and remote. Students who attend live will attend a scheduled in-person class. Students who are remote will be required to log in for instruction at scheduled times. Teachers will provide instruction for a period of time for all students and then provide an opportunity for remote students to work completely independent. And then they can do some studying, practicing the components of the lesson, and that's where the asynchronous part comes in, while providing some synchronous support to the students who are attending in person. Opportunities for our students to interact live with their teachers, and how often is that going to happen? That's going to happen every day. Even on the day where we have a flexible Wednesday, teachers are going to be able to interact with our students, and students will be able to interact with our teachers remotely. Our next question is about masks and mask breaks. Masks are required. As we've said before, masks are required while in the presence of others. However, during a long day, there will be mask breaks. How often will they be? As often as needed for the students. We will build them in, and it will be both grade and age appropriate. We understand our little ones probably need more mask breaks than our older students. So we're going to work with our faculty, and our faculty will work with our students about scheduling different times of mask breaks for our students. The next question is, can parents opt for a fully remote instruction? The answer is yes. Minisink Valley is offering a full remote model. What we are asking our parents to do is to commit for a quarter. After each quarter, you can reevaluate whether you would like to stay in the remote model or move into a hybrid model where the other students are. Please understand, we need you to make sure you email your principal to let them know that you are opting for the remote model. Next, the question is, will New York State have assessments this year? We are told that we are having assessments this year, but we will need to monitor it as we're moving forward. We don't know from month to month what is going to change. Next, partnering with our parents to provide support at home for learning. Parents, particularly those of younger students, will need to be able to provide supports at home during instruction. It is not reasonable to expect that primary age students will be able to log in and participate remotely without some support from parents. However, teachers will be providing instruction and support to all of our students. Our next question is, will there be opportunities for extra help from teachers when working remotely? The answer is yes, both during the regular school day and during the built-in flex day on Wednesday, that are part of the design to offer opportunities for extra support for our students. So we know that the students may require some extra help, and we have built it in so that that capability is there. So our next section covers school schedules. The first question was, how are the student groups going to be broken down? We're going to use the alphabet to break down our schools. Generally, it will be from A through K is one group, L through Z will be the other group. However, we have honored situations where people living in the same household with different last names will be on the same schedule. Next, why is the district using a hybrid schedule approach? Well, the number one thing we have to follow is social distancing guidelines based on the Department of Health. That significantly limits the amount of students that we are able to have in the building at one time. As much as we would like to have all of our children back in the building at the same time, this is not possible based on the current Department of Health guidelines, which we are going to follow. Our next question is about parent choice. Can a parent choose a fully remote option for their child? The answer is yes. The parent can opt in at any time. However, we are asking our parents to commit to a 1 quarter each time as they opt in. So once you've opted in, you're in for that quarter. Next, the next question is, why can we not honor requests at this point for full-time attendance? As I've stated before, we are following the Department of Health guidelines regarding the number of students that we are able to have in a classroom based on social distancing. At this particular moment, with the guidelines in place from the Department of Health, we cannot have every student in the building at the same time. That was the need to opt for a hybrid model where we have students on a rotating schedule coming into the buildings. Next, the next question is about flex days. When and how will they work? So our flex day will be on Wednesdays. That day will start on September 16th and run through the month of October. However, we will evaluate again by October 21st to see if we need to continue with the flex day. All students attending the Minisink Valley schools will be on a remote schedule for that flex day. Out-of-district placed students and C-Tech students will follow those schedules. Students will be required to participate in instruction on those flex days. The daily schedule will be flexed to provide an opportunity to shorten class schedules, which will then provide time for additional support for students, professional development opportunities for our teachers, and more importantly, when our students are back in session, an opportunity for our Buildings and Grounds Department to do a deep cleaning of the building. Our next question is, why had the plan changed from originally having our kindergarten and first grade students coming in full-time each and every day? And will it change again? Well, as we began planning for this and it evolved, it became very clear to us that we had shortages in a number of resources. Primarily our faculty, and second, the space that is needed prohibited us from having the ability to have our kindergartners and first grade in every single day. The social distancing regulations from the Department of Health are very stringent, and for us to make sure that we have that in place and be able to have all of our other students in the buildings on a hybrid model became impossible. Will it change again? Well, as the school year evolves, we are going to continue to look at what information is coming down from the Department of Health and the State Education Department. Building level administration and central office administration will evaluate it, and with the hopes that at some point in time we can return to our normal model of education of our students by having all of our students here full-time during the year. That is what we are hoping for. But for right now, the plan will remain a hybrid plan moving forward, with us reevaluating as more information comes out from the Department of Health and the State Education Department. Our next question is, when will school schedules and teacher assignments be available? I have spoken with our building principals, and they are putting the finishing touches on their schedules now, and look to have those schedules out in the next couple of days, with anticipation of having those schedules in our families' hands by next week. The next question we have is, what is the period or class schedule going to look like? Will it be the same in remote and in person? And will the schedule be the same as in the past? What I can tell you for the middle school and high school is that the class period bell schedules have been adapted to provide additional transition time between periods based on the social distancing requirements. The increased time between the periods will afford opportunities to both transition students safely around the respective buildings, as well as provide an opportunity to provide sanitation and hygiene needs in our classroom spaces. Our next topic is career and technical education classes. Our first question is, what issue should I directly be communicating with Orange Ulster BOCES CTEC on? The main areas you should be communicating with Orange Ulster BOCES instructors will be about your program and any other information regarding the course or materials needed for that program. Program changes would need to be discussed with your Minisink Valley High School counselor, and they will coordinate with Orange Ulster BOCES to see what other programs are available. The next question is, does the Career and Technical Education Center offer a remote option? The answer is no. OU BOCES CTEC will not be offering a fully remote option for its students. If there is a significant situation that requires a conversation with them, it will be evaluated on an individual basis. But again, they are not offering a fully remote option for their CTEC program. The next question is, if my child is in a remote model at Minisink Valley full-time, can that student still go to CTEC? The answer is yes. Students who choose the fully remote model will have the option to attend Orange Ulster BOCES CTEC Center. Next, how does the CTEC busing work? The high school administration is currently working on with the Transportation Department to develop a bus schedule that will accommodate our students. Orange Ulster BOCES is in the process of creating and providing us with their groupings of students for the CTEC program. Once we have all of that information from Orange Ulster BOCES, we will be able to finalize the transportation plan for our students, and the high school administration will communicate that to our students. We are also exploring the option of allowing as many of our junior students who attend CTEC to drive to both the CTEC campus and the Minisink campus. This option will not be available or open to all juniors. It will only be open to the juniors who are attending CTEC. Next, can my child attend CTEC in person and Minisink Valley remotely? Again, the answer is yes. As stated before, if your child attends remotely for Minisink, they will be able to attend the OU BOCES CTEC in person. Next, how will the fact that CTEC begins on their hybrid model on September 3rd, but Minisink begins its hybrid on September 8th, actually work? Our first 4 days, September 1st through September 4th, are not days of attendance for our students, so it will not count against our students at the CTEC program. I have spoken with BOCES to find out if they are going to continue to have classes starting on September 3rd. As of now they are, but they are evaluating based on the number of districts that are beginning their instruction on September 8th. More information may come for that. Next, how is Minisync addressing scheduling with CTEC? We have already scheduled our students in both their Minisync Valley Orange Ulster BOCES CTEC programs. We are just waiting for the final information for Orange Ulster BOCES on their groupings for the students. Once we have all that information from Orange Ulster BOCES, we will be able to finalize the transportation plan for our students, and the high school administration will communicate that out to our students once that information is in hand. Our last section for this video is going to be about attendance. The first question that came in under this section is, will Minisync have a remote model available? Well, I know I've talked about this before. I think it's worth mentioning again. Minisync will have a remote model during the school year. We have set the requirement for a child to commit to the remote model for the entire quarter prior to switching out of it. If you are in the remote model and want to continue, there is no need to notify your principal. The administration will only need to know if you are switching models at the end of the quarter. You may opt into the remote model at any time. The next question is, how will attendance be tracked for those students who have chosen a remote model? Well, teachers will be checking attendance for those in the remote model or remote for the day each day. Next, when can a student return from the remote model? You will have the ability to switch from the remote model back to the hybrid model during the school year. However, we have set the requirement for a child to commit to the remote model for the entire quarter prior to switching back. Once you are in the remote model and want to continue there, there is no need to notify your principal. They will only need to know if you are switching models at the end of the quarter. And finally, the last question, can a student who is sick attend remotely if they were supposed to be in school? The answer is yes. If a student is sick, they can attend remotely when they are sick. Thank you.